Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Check it out. What's going on right now with the elections is insane. It's one of the worst things that I have seen since I've been alive in the United States. The corruption and everything that is coming out of this is crazy. And I'm going to tell you, bless the Lord. I know the Lord has a plan for this. And his plan seems to me that it's going to be to expose all the corruption going on from the Democratic Party. They are evil and they are corrupted. I don't get it. I really don't get it. If you're a Christian man and love the Lord, I don't get how you support a group that is so evil. And people are going to say, well, Trump is this, Trump is that. I get it. He's not my the best person ever in my book. He says some things that I do not agree. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm not the best person in my book neither. I say things sometimes that I shouldn't say. And if you check yourself, if you evaluate yourself, you're probably not the best person ever neither. You probably said some things that you shouldn't say neither. But nevertheless, you have a party that represent things that go against God, like late-term abortions, killing babies like it's cool. You know why? Because they get that money. It's all about the money. Money, 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 money. It comes from them. They get supported big time by Planned Parenthood and all that. I'm assuming because they are obsessed with abortions. Obsessed. It's their favorite topic. That one and take away your guns. Favorite topics. But here's the thing. Before I get into that, check it out. If you want to support the channel, become a patron. My patrons are amazing. I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Also, Amazon links are down there. If you use my Amazon links, I get a kickback, and I definitely appreciate that. All right, so let me tell you something. I was thinking about all these elections, and I'm thinking to myself, well, here's the thing. The corruption is insane. And why is that? It's 2020, almost 2021. The technology that we have is amazing. I just don't understand why people couldn't go and vote not to have this issue. And I thought about, the president talked about this already. He said months and months ago, he said the Democrats are going to use this strategy in order to cheat. And right now we see the proof. We see how we have corruption. We see how we have a glitch on systems that gave more votes to Democrats. Obviously, all this is going to go to a process and it's going to get proof, right? But I feel that it's pretty consistent what we're seeing. But again, it's all right. We're going to wait for the system. We're going to wait through an investigation. We're going to wait through everything that's going on. And we're going to see what happened. And the great thing about this is that you haven't seen Republicans burning down a city, right? I laugh at New York. Man, you guys are insane, man. If you're a New Yorker, I'm sorry. I went to high school in New York, by the way. 2 years of my life. But, all those business owners, you guys bore all your city because destruction, and now you celebrate. Oh, we're celebrating. If I'm a business owner and I had to bore down my windows because people were threatening to steal, loot, break down my place, I'll be kind of upset. I don't think I'll be celebrating now. Oh, you celebrating that, your place wasn't burned down to the ground? That's pretty sad if you ask me, right? That's like kind of leading by intimidation. Living in a place that is you being intimidated, you being bullied, and that's not okay. You should talk to the city officials about that stuff. You should not be bullied, and you should not live in a country or states where you have to bore your windows because you're scared for your business. On SAP. But you know what? Obviously, they tried to do this. Obviously, they tried to do it by mail so they could cheat, and you could see that right now. And you know what? Why not having an ID card? Why not having an ID card? And apparently it's racist, right? If you guys remember months ago, when they started throwing that already out there, the Democrats were like, whoa, you demand people to have an ID card, you must be racist. What kind of nonsense is that? What do you mean it's racist? I remember hearing that in the news. To get an ID card, you need an ID card for everything. So here's the thing. I was thinking about this. What do you need an ID card for? To buy alcohol. You know that? If you got to buy some beer, you got to have an ID card. If you want to walk inside the place, sometimes you got to show an ID card, right? To buy cigarettes, you have to have an ID card to buy cigarettes. Alcohol and cigarettes. All right. Check this one out. My wife was asked for an ID card to buy Drano. We had to put some Drano in the sink because it was clogged. You had to show an ID card. Wow. 9-coil. You got to show an ID card. Wow. You know, going into the club, into the bars, you know you got to show an ID card to go to the bar and to go to the club. Apparently to vote for the president of the United States, is no, you shouldn't get an ID card for that. To return something in the store. If you go to the store and you buy something and you're going to return it, you got to show an ID card. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's racist. Oh, what about to drive? You got to have an ID card to drive. So here's the thing, asking for people to have an ID card is not an uncommon thing. It's not a racist thing. It's not an uncommon thing. It's not something that a common person would think is not okay, right? What a common person would think that is nonsense and is unbelievable is what we're seeing right now. The fact that people are mailing ballots that they didn't request. The fact that people are getting all this, have the ability to vote from one precinct to another precinct to another precinct. They don't even have to show an ID card, or they don't even register that ID card. That's nonsense. The fact that you could just fill a piece of paper and mail and no one can verify who you are. That is nonsense. You have to go to Target and you have to show your ID card to return a shirt. But to vote for the president of the United States, you don't have to show proof? That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense. But people will argue with you about this because it's quite simple. They argue with you because their intent is to cheat. Their intent is to commit fraud. Because a normal person will say, yeah, man, voting for the president of the United States, the highest person, the highest official, it will make sense that you have to show an ID card and say, here's who I am. But people argue with you and say, no, that's racist or all those things because they want to cheat. It's already been planned. That's what they want to do. That's why you see the issues we have right now. It would have been really, really simple. You walk into a place, you show your ID card, and you vote. Very, very simple, right? You have even early voting and all that. But that's not their intent. Their intent was to cheat from day one. That's why they push the ballots by mail. Why did they push it so much? Why they didn't say, if you really want your vote to count, go and vote. That is the best way. Here I am, Fabian. Here's my ID card. Let me make my vote count. No, they didn't push that. They pushed by mail. Because they intended to cheat since day one. They intended to have fraud since day one. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Because if your vote wants to be counted, if you really want your vote to be counted, you go there. Sometimes we got to call places over the phone. I don't want to talk over the phone. I want to go there and talk to somebody so I can say, I talked to you. And you said this, right? Like going to the bank or something like that. No, I went to the bank. I talked to you, sir, and you said this. I didn't call the 1-800 number. I didn't do none of that stuff. But when you intend to fraud from the beginning, that's why they push that. And then when you said things like ID cards, it says racist. There's nothing racist about an ID card. You go to Target, you got to show an ID card to return a piece of equipment. So how is that racist? Anyways, what do you guys think? Put comments down below. And as always, God is in control.